Welcome to the Earth is Ghetto podcast. I am Levi.
And I am Taboo.
And we are just going to hop directly into the mental health check-in. How you feeling? How you feeling, friend?
I'm feeling like I am healing. I'm in the healing process right now at this point of my life. I'm focusing on my breathing. That has helped a lot. That has helped a lot.
I wish I could focus on my breathing.
It wasn't easy for
me. Yeah, it's really not. I know it's not because I try and this should be hard. So
here it is. June. I started in January.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm kind of just in like an absurd mindset. I be laughing at shit because the fuckery that's going on. It's like sometimes it's like, oh my god, this is what we're doing on this floating rock in space. So I really think about changing my mindset to just not letting it, whatever it is going on, consume it, making the negative my reality. My personality is my own personal reality.
Yes,
so I'm focusing on that, and I'm getting to know myself again, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. It's been a little rougher for me mentally. As we all know, this economy is kicking everybody's ass. And it almost wants to put you, it's really hard for it not to put you in a space of depression. God forbid you've been out of work for 1 year, 2 years. We have so many people out of work right now. I think it was about 300,000 black women that were laid off. Insane. So it's like me constantly fighting in my own brain because you're constantly being brainwashed and being told that you cannot possibly be good enough. Because if you were good enough, you would be working. And that's just another tactic of capitalism. And it's just another tactic of like it's I need people to understand that this is designed this way for a specific reason. And I feel like for a lot of us, we kind of just float by in life because the only thing we are just trying to do is survive. So sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes we can't see like what they're doing and what the end game may be. So I have to keep on reminding myself of that. And not like spiraling into a depression that is really hard to get out of, because I don't know about y'all, but when I get really depressed, it's like I try to stop myself from ever getting to that point because it's going to take so long for me to be okay if I wait until after I'm already in the pits of hell. Like I can't, it's just going to be ridiculous. So
and us being neurodivergent is even harder. It's like the extra layer on top of that.
Absolutely.
Because we do have such a strong sense of justice.
Yeah.
So it's like this, I can't just put not like, oh yeah, peaches and cream.
Right, and we feel our emotions intensely. So a lot of times it wouldn't be a big thing to other people. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is a fucking issue for me now. Anyway, so moving on into the first topic. So let's go ahead and let us begin.
Bail lying about this motherfucking AI shit.
Yeah, and we knew they were, but let's get to it for real.
She said, "Let's check the board."
Let's check the board. Okay.
So something that I feel like more people need to know: data centers don't actually need water. They need cooling systems, and they're using water because it's the cheapest way to do it. Yeah, data centers, they generate like a shitload of heat, and if the heat's not removed somehow, the servers will overheat and it all stops working. So when people are hearing like AI is consuming millions of gallons of water, we're all just assuming it's like this unavoidable part of the technology, but that's actually not true. And it almost is like worse. They don't need water. They're just doing this for no fucking reason because it's the cheapest option. They need cooling. There are alternatives, and I've wrote a few of them down. There's immersion cooling systems. They can literally submerge servers in a specifically designed synthetic fluid that absorbs heat. There's dielectric coolants that can circulate through equipment without conducting electricity. There's closed loop cooling systems that recycle coolant instead of constantly consuming fresh water. Dry cooling systems that use the air instead of evaporation. I don't know, I could pay people to blow on them to cool them off before wasting our water. Another thing, companies can even build data centers in colder climates to reduce cooling demands in the first place. The technology exists, is my point. The issue is that many of those alternatives that I just explained to you are more expensive. And that's the part that I think is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting they're wasting all the water. What's more interesting is they don't have to waste the water. Ordinary people, we're always told, like, conserve our water, take shorter showers, and water your lawn less, follow drought restrictions, be mindful of your water consumption. Meanwhile, some of the wealthiest corporations on earth are consuming enormous amounts of water because it's the cheapest way to cool their infrastructure. There's a difference between something that's necessary and something being the cheapest option available. When a human uses water, it's because they will die without it. When a data center uses water, it's because somebody in a boardroom ran the numbers and decided it was the most cost-effective cooling method. Who cares about the drinking water that matters? And I think that's a conversation that's worth having. Because if water is essential for human life, maybe human beings should have priority access to water before the latest AI model does. Just a thought.
Just,
So something that I feel like more people need to know.
But how dare we say things like that? Because what about the shareholders?
And I think what's so crazy and so dark and nefarious about this is they are truly of the mind that because they have billions of dollars, who cares who they decide to dehydrate in the meantime? That's not their fucking problem. The problem that they have right now is making sure that whatever they're doing is cheap. Now, I have more to say though, because I really need y'all to lock in for this next one, because I was like, huh? I said, bitch, excuse me? I said, that doesn't sound correct.
I don't think I like that.
I don't. Mm-mm.
All I like is music.
All right, y'all, it's been coming out recently that a significant percentage of companies are now rapidly cutting back on their usage of AI. It's been reported that nearly 3/4 of enterprises that adopted AI are now scaling back their usage or just cutting it entirely. And we're seeing this for a few reasons. The main reason is that companies are now seeing how much AI really costs. The AI models like Claude, Copilot, ChatGPT, they've all recently switched over to a usage-based pricing model instead of their flat rate subscription. And according to this interview from the Financial Times a few days ago, since this pricing change, executives have seen a 7x increase to their costs now that AI companies are no longer subsidizing their usage. Companies are now seeing that AI is far more expensive than actual human employees. And that's not from me. That is a direct quote from NVIDIA's vice president. So it's now becoming clear that the dream of AI is going to save you billions was a complete sham. It seems like the scheme that the AI companies, the model makers, were trying to implement was to subsidize everyone's usage and then get the entire world to be reliant on AI. And then when they have to switch the pricing model back, everyone would just be forced to pay for it. But it seems like that plan is completely failing because companies are just cutting their AI usage. And the reason for that is AI just isn't good. We've already seen a large number of executives come out and say that AI just isn't contributing to productivity gains. In reality, most of the time, what they're seeing is errors, security risks, and hallucinations. We've been seeing big companies cut their AI operations because it's just unreliable. Like Starbucks recently had to cut their AI inventory system because it was just making way too many mistakes. So not only does it not save money or make money, it's also an active security risk that constantly produces errors that cost money to fix. And this is something I've been trying to explain to all the people who are buying into the AI hype. I don't care what Elon or ChatGPT tells you. There's something called economic reality, dollars and cents. And now it's becoming very clear. Because if the corporate clients don't want to pay for it, then there's no one paying for it.
He's like, I'll say it real
And so I say again,
Let me break it down.
AI is a bubble. And unfortunately, it takes down the entire market with it. Enterprise clients cut their AI usage, which means less revenue and usage for the AI companies. Less revenue and usage for the AI companies means less revenue and usage for the data centers. Less data center usage is then less revenue and orders for the semiconductor and chip companies. And with all that real money pulled out of the system, they can no longer keep up their circular financing scheme. You know, the one where they just pass money back and forth between each other and then write on their income statements that they're all making money. They're just passing money back and forth between each other. And when their circular financing scheme breaks, all of their valuations that were based on their fake earnings and their fake revenue collapses. And of course, because AI companies make up 45% of the market, they take everything down with it. That is very simply how a bubble works. And let's not forget, this is not even to mention the global food and energy crisis from the war and from Hormuz. That is a totally separate situation in which Trump himself just stated that it would be bedlam and that we were going to run out of fuel reserves. So for anyone who's still not seeing the collapse, you're living in La La Land, okay? It's time to wake up because even Trump is telling you it's going to get bad.
But what about Love Island?
Oh my goodness. So, what do you think?
You know, if Johnny had 4 apples, you know, I like the way he broke it down. This shit eats itself, but they're not going to see that because profit will always come before human life.
Always and regularly. And I know that there's a lot of people in my life who use ChatGPT. I still love you. I just need you to think a little bit more deeply about this. This is not just about you. You are thinking too much as an individualist versus thinking for the collective. Because at the end of the day, we can't survive without water, guys. Like that's not how any of this works. So
but it's like they don't want us to focus on that, right? They want us to focus on you too could become that someday.
Right.
I want the next iPhone. I want Met Gala.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want us to. It's all about keeping us distracted, bread and circuses. And oh, but why is the water pressure not the same like it used to be? Oh, my water's brown. But we're trying to tell your bitch ass why.
And you won't listen. Like we're just screaming into the ether at this point. And nobody, and it's like, it's so crazy to watch people not know they are drowning and at the very last second realize right before their lungs fill up and they die. Like, I don't know. I really hate the fact that a lot of you have to fuck around and find out. I truly hate that. But I think that what's even worse about it, at least for me, is we think that only white Republicans are fucking around and finding out. That's just not the truth. They are fucking around and finding out, absolutely, and as they should. But let's keep it a buck. Let me tell you something. These liberals are fucking around and finding out. You cannot continue to tell a whole faction of people that you should not be in our political party, but don't make your own political party. Because you're going to take away people from our political party, but then I still need you to vote for this political party.
They said, hold up now. Wait, not like that.
Girl, like.
You can't be voting for people that actually have something to vote for and not just against. You're supposed to still stay scared and stay in the establishment. You can't vote too far.
And I'm like, I feel like everybody is just running around like a chicken with their head cut off. Like I just feel like this is it's like the circular argument of religion. The Bible is true because it says it in the Bible. Like, okay, girl, I can't go back and forth with somebody.
But I
with
too could say it's gonna rain 2,000 years from now. Like,
okay,
okay,
okay, and what do you?
The Bible says this happened this day.
Girl.
Okay.
And it doesn't shock me at all. I feel like a lot of people have noticed their water bills and their electric bills going up. So when he says subsidize, he means us paying for it. Yeah. I hope that that's very clear. When they said, oh, you're going to be, we're going to have other, we're going to have it subsidized. You notice that we're not saying what community is going to be subsidizing it. We don't realize that we are just going to be left with a ridiculous bill that we will be forced to pay because the whole idea was to get us fully dependent upon it, like a fucking drug, so that when they decided to put it back to regular prices, that everybody would be like, oh, we're stuck. And the only
it is what it is. That's just the way life goes.
like,
Ain't nothing free.
and when I say they love that shit,
Ain't
oh my
nothing
god,
free.
oh my god, it is so ridiculous.
They want you to think like that.
It's always been like that. Okay.
Individualism has always been the way to go.
Where is that gotten? Okay, it's fine. So
Death Star, Empire, the indoctrination of it all.
Bruh,
it really got y'all. Mind you, we have never, in the Middle East, they have never forget moments every day. But
but we only care about 9/11. So
we do that shit to them every day.
bro, like I don't know how many 9/11s that we have created in the Middle East. But I just want to let you know where our numbers are way bigger than theirs. But I digress.
But we can't say stuff like that.
Oh, they'll be all right. So
it's okay. I'm already on the watch list.
Yeah, I know, right? So the next topic that we are going to be talking about is Jamaica. Now, Jamaica and a lot of other third world countries. Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of countries that they would try to convince us, right, depend on tourist dollars. They want us to think that the Hawaii would be better if we just visited more. They will make you think that Puerto Rico would be better if we just had more people go over there. Not give them what they need so they can stand on their own 2 feet. Not barring them from their own native beaches. Like, it's just, I am seeing the way, because it's so funny because there are so many like Americans who are very, very high-minded about this fucking place. When
I don't know why. Well, I know why. We know why.
Well, yeah, because the propaganda is just
spend
that
billions
good.
of money on it every year.
Exactly. Like, they spend billions of dollars on their propaganda. So as far as they're concerned, it better work. So I feel like they constantly want us to see people in Jamaica as less than, less intelligent, less, like, all kinds of things. And because homophobia and just like this being anti-feminine runs rampant in that area. I've seen people use that as an excuse to say, well, it's okay, they're suffering right now. I need you to know that's not how any of this fucking works. I don't, and I honestly, it scares me.
Anytime a settler colony like America or Israel enters anything, it is not for a greater outcome or for anyone's good except their own.
It's not.
So this whole, oh, well, their government's doing this to them, so that's why America, bitch, let's not sit here and be obtuse.
And just lie.
And just lie. You know what the fuck America is doing to the regime and why they're doing it.
So, seeing more and more people who love to go to these resorts. They see the resorts and everybody's so kind. Everybody is, they're stepping fetching it to make sure that you, and I also want you to let you know, there's a lot of men who get sexually abused by women who literally, it's just sex tourism. They say passport bros, passport bitches. They have whatever the fuck that they've got going on. I cannot tell you how many stories that I have heard from people who work on these resorts, and then they end up being told, if you don't do what I say, I'll say you did this, this, and this, and then they have no choice but to go ahead and do it. It is so gross the way things are just treated, right? So, and what's worse is they have made it so that you can't make money if you don't work at one of these resorts. They go outside the resort and people are like, where the fuck is this? You're in Jamaica, baby. This is the leftover vestiges of what Britain and America has done. This is the result. And I need you to understand that's what's happening. And it continues. And
Colonialism has not went anywhere, y'all. Like, you're witnessing it right now in 2026. Oh, this is the America I know. What are you talking about?
You just tell me that you were brainwashed without telling me, because my love.
We're not going backwards. It's just the spotlight is getting brighter now.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's happened. It's like when people think that, trans people are like a new fad. Babe, they're just a little bit more comfortable coming out now. It's same thing with left-handed people. At one point, they thought left-handed people were evil. Mm-hmm. So they were like, I guess I got to learn to be ambidextrous, bitch. And they would go ahead and learn to write with their right hand. And they did that so that they wouldn't be looked at like they got touched by Satan.
Right.
So later on, when people were just like, "Hey, I think that's stupid," they were like, "You know what? I got a secret, y'all. I'm left-handed."
Hey,
girl, you're not about to play me, bitch. I'm sorry. But anyway.
Because don't they be playing in our fucking face?
Like I'm just so stupid. Like the gaslighting is next level. And I feel like people need to understand the only thing that America has done is go to other places and terrorize them for oil. We don't help people. We're not saving bitches from burning buildings. We are going over there to procure our investment.
Look at Colombia right now. Far right, endorsed by Trump. It's all about making sure that we still have control of these places to sustain global empire.
I truly think that for a lot of us, this is very exhausting. It's exhausting to think about. It's exhausting to be involved in. It's exhausting to care. And I'm here to tell you, I don't give a fuck. You don't have a choice anymore. People are dying, Kim. This is just where
right.
We're gonna have to be.
Sorry, Jill.
Yeah, like, babe, I don't know what you want, but I'm letting you know that there is a war on black people in general.
And disabled folks.
And disabled, oh my God, and disabled folks. And children. Like, you know what? It's a long list. Anyway, so I want you guys to go ahead and watch this video real quick because I think it's super, super important to watch because I feel like because we're in America and we kind of live in this bubble, we don't really think about any of this. We don't. We live in our own little bubble and we're like, I'm sure they're fine. Bitch, are you? Anyway.
But hey, I want to go to the World Cup. Like, is that going to interfere with my
Come want to know for pre this. The whole island no hana light. Such man just send in war boat go down a week contact off and them come near man drink. You think say them not send informer in our land for come set all of them fires now in our thing? We army gone, we base gone. Such man not go and like say we no see say a them can lock off the light in a GPS. This is exactly what them did do to Venezuela, you know, everybody. Them a use Jamaica to sell out the rest of the Caribbean because such man want yam and drink and be them batty and bench. Jamaican people no better get up and rise up and fight for no land. Fight for Jamaica, we have to fight for our country. Stop going like I say on the door, see a war with the under. Them have a week out from Dirty Melissa and from Beryl Times and wanna sit down this and go and like say everything peace and safety. If this no tell you no say with the under war, all of you go get checked, you know. All of we are going to get checked, you know. Don't master Jamaica can't shame, so we have to get up and do better for come on to know for.
I need people to understand that Native Jamaicans can't even go to their own beaches. And the reason why they cannot is because of American and British interests that have bought up all of these properties and then have banned the people that actually live there from going. I feel like people need to understand how absolutely evil that shit is. We truly go out of our way to cape for a country that is quite literally I can tell you right now,
the most evil.
Bro, the people in other countries, when they think of the U.S. military, they think of terrorists. Mm-hmm. I need you to understand that. We did not ever go over there or any other place to help anybody.
Ever.
We just want money. And we're trying to figure out how I can get anybody to pay for me to go to war to go get more money. That's literally all this is. And instead of taking any of the money that we use for war and putting it in, I don't know, education, subsidized housing, instead of doing any of that, we'd rather go back and forth and be like, why exactly, and make sure that they have those things. And then it's so crazy to me because then we'll have arguments like stop having children because you're too broke. Baby, the country has us fucked. And it's a process and a system. I'm so glad that you have the privilege not to have to plug into that. That's all I can say.
But I want my new Stanley Cup.
Girl, I want my new Starbucks drink.
I
Like
want that new Starbucks cup.
Girl, bye.
They was about to ban all the girl. Here we go.
I know, right? They're always trying to ban us.
They're always trying to ban us. You gonna ban me? Ban.
Yeah, bro, I swear to God. So last thing that I do want to say about this is that I need people to understand that I am anti-establishment, which means I am anti-military. I'm anti-ICE. I'm anti-cops. And after finding out a lot of what the fire department be doing, it might be fuck them too. So I know that is something that a lot of people are very upset about because my daddy never treated anybody bad. I get that. That's wonderful. He never drew his gun during his 20 years of service. Yeah, I get it. Love you too. What I'm saying is sadly, this is a system that kills black and brown people and actually just kills anybody who's willing to go against the system that they have in place. You have to keep it above. I'm sorry, you just do.
My dad's a good slave catcher. My dad would never do such a thing.
You're like, girl, excuse me?
But some slave catchers are good.
It's like, hey, you know what? See, he was a good rapist. He was nice. You know what I mean? He took me to dinner first and everything. Like, girl, are you joking?
Crazy.
Anyway.
Crazy.
So now we are going to go to the next topic, which I named violence. I actually don't remember what I put here. But I'm going to keep it a buck because this is what happens.
Hey,
this is a couple days ago and I've got mental issues. Anyway.
It'd be like that, friend.
You know what I'm saying? So
who's allowed to be violent? Because the people who say that violence is never the answer are not being realistic. Violence is always an answer, even if it's not an answer that's afforded to you. So if you're not allowed to be violent, who is? Whose violence is always seemingly negotiable or justified, and whose is intolerable? Whose violence is understood, maybe even state-sanctioned, and whose is always feared and sensationalized? The answer is whoever has the most power. Are children allowed to be violent toward their parents? No. But parents are allowed to be violent toward their children. Are citizens allowed to be violent toward the police? No. But guess who's allowed to be violent toward the citizens? Are black people allowed to be violent toward white people? No. But historically, who has always been allowed to be violent toward us? All of these world leaders, and specifically I'm talking about American leaders, are always talking about how violence is never the answer. That's a lie. Violence has been the answer a lot of times. It just hasn't been afforded to us. I was trying to figure out how to frame this next part of chapter 17 of A People's History of the United States, titled, Or Does It Explode? Because the next part is a portion of American history that all of us are familiar with. It starts with the Montgomery bus boycotts, right? And I'm like, how do I tell this part of the story without boring people to tears, because they've been hearing about MLK and Rosa Parks and the colored section of the buses and all of that. They've been hearing about that since 4th grade. How do I make this interesting to, the viewers? And I realized that there's certain historical lessons that we should be taking from the civil rights movement that they deliberately don't touch on in school because they don't do the same thing these motherfuckers did, because they won. In a way. So speaking of the Montgomery bus boycotts, Howard Zinn writes, Montgomery was the beginning. It forecast the style and mood of the vast protest movement that would sweep the South in the next 10 years. Emotional church meetings, Christian hymns adapted to current battles, references to lost American ideals, the commitment to nonviolence because they weren't afforded the opportunity or the right to be violent. And the willingness to struggle and sacrifice, the willingness to struggle and sacrifice, the willingness to struggle and sacrifice. Let me say this. When you are on the precipice of change and the universe, spirit is trying to move you through that change, discomfort is a requirement. And the reason that these civil rights warriors were so successful in the 50s and 60s is because they were used to discomfort so that they could live through it. They could ramp up the discomfort because they were already used to that. And the problem with so many Americans nowadays is that y'all have gotten far too comfortable and you're not willing to struggle and sacrifice that comfort in order to get what you want. And I'm going to demonstrate what discomfort looks like. So a New York Times reporter described a mass meeting in Montgomery during the bus boycott. Quote, one after the other, indicted Negro leaders took the rostrum in a crowded Baptist church tonight to urge their followers to shun the city's buses and walk with God. More than 2,000 Negroes filled the church from basement to balcony and overflowed into the street. They chanted and sang, they shouted and prayed, they collapsed in the aisles and they sweltered in an 85-degree heat. They pledged themselves again and again to passive resistance, and under this banner they have carried on for 80 days a stubborn boycott of the city's buses. What kind of boycott are y'all doing for 80 days and nights, sweating and walking miles to work right now in order to affect change? Probably none. Because you still can't even give up Target and motherfucking Starbucks. And Starbucks doesn't even have the goddamn decency to give you a free cup of water. And it was during this time of the bus boycott that Martin Luther King really started to come into view as the legendary legacy leader that he was. And there's a reason why he was so effective in the 60s, and it's because I believe he was speaking from a perspective of Christ consciousness. Now, you can call it Christianity if you want to. I don't really believe in that colonizer-ass slop religion that it's turned into, but I do believe in Jesus Christ's teachings, and I believe in human beings doing their part to usher in Christ consciousness. And all of what King was doing was ushering in Christ consciousness through the lens of radical love and radical courage, because you can't be loving without being courageous, right? And so he's at these churches and he's preaching to these people, and he says, quote, we have known humiliation. We have known abuse of language. We have been plunged into the abyss of oppression, which as Black Americans we have, right? And that's where that courage comes from. And that's where that resilience in the face of deep, deep, deep discomfort and oppression comes from. It's the reason why Black people are always successful with our boycotts. So we've already been uncomfortable. The shit is not new to us. It's new to you, right? We have known humiliation. We have known abusive language. We have been plunged into the abyss of oppression. And we decided to raise up only with the weapon of protest. It is one of the greatest glories of America that we have the right of protest. If we are arrested every day, if we are exploited every day, if we are trampled over every day, don't ever let anyone pull you so low as to hate them. We must use the weapon of love. We must have compassion and understanding for those who hate us. We must realize so many people are taught to hate us that they are not totally responsible for their hate. But we stand in life at midnight. We are always on the threshold of a new dawn.
It's always so
and now some people may say that message is naive, but fuck, it worked, didn't it? And the fact is that King knew something that a lot of people nowadays can't relate to because they're not living in the mid-century Deep South. King knew that Black people did not have the privilege to be violent. And that if Black people started being violent the way these white people were being violent, and I'm about to tell you exactly how violent they were being. If Black people were being violent the way these white people were being violent, we would have never gotten anywhere, because then the story would have been centered on Black violence. Then the press would have been reporting on Negro rage, how scary these Negroes are. And the entire message of equality and passing legislation to help move the Black community along would have been lost in the fear of Black people. And so he did what was right at the time. That's not to say that some black people and other people of color were not fighting back. 2 years after the Montgomery boycott in Monroe, North Carolina, an ex-Marine named Robert Williams, the president of the local NAACP, became known for his view that blacks should defend themselves against violence with guns if necessary. When local Klansmen attacked the home of one of the leaders of the Monroe NAACP, Williams and other blacks, armed with rifles, fired back. The Klan left. The Klan was being challenged now with its own tactic of violence. A Klan raid on an Indian community in North Carolina was repelled by Indian firing rifles. And so one part of a portion of equality, like an aspect of equality, is equal opportunity violence. Nowadays, the Klan is not rolling up in a black neighborhood doing all that shit, all that hooting and hollering and trying to terrorize the people, because we are a more equal society, which means black people have every bit as much of a right to violence as white people do, but it just wasn't like that in the mid-century. And so when we're looking back at history, we have to take into account historical context and not project what we would do onto these people, because you're not.
So I really do want everybody to watch that full video. The reason that I thought that this was so reflective of what's going on today is that we are now being told it's not just black people that do not have the privilege of being violent. It's anybody who comes up against the status quo. We are gonna get into it, but the things that are going on currently with ICE are becoming more and more brutal every day. The punishments that they are coming up with for these people are so disgusting. And it's like they can pepper spray you and beat you and do all of those things, but God forbid you come up there with your own bear mace. That's a charge.
50 years in prison. And actually, didn't that just happen?
Yes.
A group of people like sentenced to.
Yes. In fact, that's actually I'll just go ahead and go to that.
Anytime you go against power, the status quo, you're seen as a terrorist, or just like the Black Panthers, just like who else?
Honestly, I feel like any kind of liberation movement that did not center capitalism was looked at as a threat and suddenly infiltrated by the fucking FBI. This is why Huey P. Newton died at 21.
And a Democrat, Blue City, by the way, and the mayor, who was a Democrat, called for that.
Yep, we don't have that conversation because people don't want to realize that racism is more powerful than your party affiliation. And I don't know why that is not something.
That's why, again, I don't do the whole, it's not about race, no war but class war thing. When it comes to white leftists saying that, I don't really like that, because before there was capitalism, there was colonialism.
Sorry, and these are just the facts.
So it's like we really have to talk about the anti-blackness, and it makes them uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about that part.
Absolutely, and I think it's
more black radical thought. They don't want to talk about it.
And I think
you can't talk about it, and you can, but you can be putting. It's about what are you willing to risk for that? Because you can be put in prison for 50 years for black radical thought,
or just anti-fascism.
Because that's why Obama put a double bounty on the side of Shakur's head.
It's true.
And they put out a search team for her.
It's very true. And I'm just like, you cannot pretend that just because the party affiliation is supposed to be on its surface friendly does not mean that it also does not also stand for violence. Because this is about a system of things. This is not about individuals. Anybody who decides to take that office, anything they do is going to be antithetical to our happiness as people. I don't think that you understand
you should run for president.
Oh, girl!
I'm like, don't piss me off. Please don't.
Girl. I need for people to understand that because black and brown people are a very culturally messianic people, meaning that we were always looking for that one guy who was going to push us forward. So whether it was the Martin Luther King or the Malcolm X or the Huey P. Newton or the James Baldwin, we were always looking for the Richard Wright, the Langston Hughes, the Maya Angelou's, the Nina Simone's. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the person to push us forward, instead of actually trying to come together.
Community.
Like, I feel like people have to understand that it's one of the reasons why I find religion so damaging, because you don't realize that you put a lot of these philosophies everywhere, and there is no one coming to save us. I need to make that very clear. Now, that might be absolutely antithetical to everything you've ever known. That's why it's called deconstruction, babe.
But you mean to tell me I can't be rich someday? I still want to be rich someday.
Oh,
I want to be rich.
my
That way I won't have to worry about crabs in the bucket. Crabs in the bucket. I want to be rich.
I honestly think to myself, like, there's nothing wrong with liking nice things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make sure that your family is not struggling. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like a lot of times when we tell people they can't do that one certain thing, you make it
They
sound
only
like,
hear what they want to hear, and I don't break it down.
Yeah.
Y'all know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
bro.
Oh, Black Bill Gates in the making. Oh, I'm trying to be this. Oh, Jay-Z, we need to look to Jay-Z for the. Like, no. Stop trying to, like, be rich in that way, because they are not about community.
At all. And they haven't been about community. And I feel like what sucks is that because we're always kind of looking for that one person to lead the movement, and we're always like, maybe is this gonna be the guy? Is this gonna be the guy? Like, stop looking for the avatars.
Yeah.
I need you to stop.
For the next savior.
Like,
the
it's
Messiah.
not, yeah, no, for real. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have a very messianic society, especially as Black people. Black people who are so steeped in Christianity that there's only so much disrespect that I can afford the Black Christian church, because I know how pivotal they were during the civil rights movement. So I can say you're lost all day, but can I give you the respect that was due because of what you did? Absolutely. I feel like, again, walking, chewing gum, we can do this. Now, I think another thing that I want to say before I decide to play the videos is, if you are not seeing things about ICE on your feed, I need you to understand this is purposeful. Things did not get better.
At all.
I don't know why anybody thinks that anything got better just because they're seeing less of it. And instead of thinking suppression, censorship, America, you think, oh, maybe the brown people are doing better today. That's not what's happening at all. And
maybe the brown people.
well, I'm just like, maybe they're doing better. I didn't say anything on the TV when I was like looking and I was switching channels. And when I was there on Fox News, and they said that the brown people figured it out, and then they went to the little institutions, because we have food and blankets in there. Now I also hear there's a roach and rat problem, and I think like maybe leptospirosis. But anyway, regardless of,
I don't see the colors complaining.
I really don't. Mostly because they can't like speak aphasia. But I feel like at the end of the day, I'm not seeing it, so that means things have improved, girl.
But what they do see is the World Cup and Love Island and the Met Gala and Chris Brown Usher album. And
Bro, but even when it comes to things like Love Island, even, like, you're still not willing to even pick certain things apart and actually,
by the way, like, when I say stuff like, oh, y'all watching Love Island, I really don't give a fuck. Y'all know me, I don't give a fuck what y'all do. I don't care. Why would you want to watch? I'm just saying, y'all will see that, and then the next person, you see like a baby getting blown up or something, and you're like,
nigga.
But it's like, come on, y'all.
I guess, and what's worse is like, even when you are consuming something like Love Island, you're not even trying to look at anything comprehensively or introspectively, because there is some real colorism going on right now.
Yeah, it's like we're not having like the discussions that need to be had.
Like, if we're gonna watch this type of drivel, if we're gonna watch this type of kerfuffle on fucking TV, the very least that we could do is think a little bit deeper about it. And
But it's like, I feel like a lot of people just don't want to, because it's all of these things are connected when we look into things, and especially in this country. So when even entertainment, because again, guess where we live? So it's like we don't want to break that down and talk about colorism, which leads to this, which leads to this, which came from that, which stands to that. Because then we have to talk about the elephant in the room once again.
And the elephant in the room, people don't want to deconstruct that it is Christianity, it is the military, it is patriotism, it is the propaganda that we have been fed regularly and constantly. Like it's easy for us to just say white supremacy, but that's just the root. We're not even talking about all the things that white supremacy will dictate. And I feel like for a lot of us, we're not understanding, like, when it comes down even to colorism. And I think I've told the story before, because my gums are black because a nigga is a nigga. My father used to literally brush my gums with a steel brush. That man was nuts. So every night he would take off a layer of gum. Like, I would actually pick it off. I need you to understand. Like, this is not so his ignorance literally went into my torture. I don't think that people are understanding that it's not just white supremacy that's the evil of it. That's just that's a term that actually informs other things. And I feel like we are not talking about it. You try yours? Yeah. And I also feel like I'm also so ready to go ahead and really start to deconstruct. And I need you all to know that I can't make friends with people who aren't willing to do so. If I'm around you and you're not deconstructing, I know you're paying me money. There's no point. There's no point whatsoever. I'm sorry. Yeah. But let's go ahead and watch this first video, because since we were talking about ICE.
This hearing will discuss the medical abuse of women in the custody of the U.S. government, and that this subject matter is deeply distressing and highly sensitive. 18 months ago, I launched a PSI investigation focused on the medical treatment of women detained by the Department of Homeland Security. It is the bipartisan finding of the subcommittee that female detainees in Georgia were subjected by a DHS contracted doctor to excessive, invasive, and often unnecessary gynecological surgeries and procedures with repeated failures to obtain informed medical consent. This is an extraordinarily disturbing finding, and in my view represents a catastrophic failure by the federal government to respect basic human rights. Among the serious abuses this subcommittee has investigated during the last 2 years, subjecting female detainees to non-consensual and unnecessary gynecological surgeries is one of the most nightmarish and disgraceful. The subcommittee has been thorough, interviewing more than 70 witnesses and reviewing more than 540,000 pages of records. Among the essential questions we will ask today: why are doctors who treat detainees not properly vetted by the Department of Homeland Security, when such a vet would have revealed in this case that the doctor in question had been previously sued by the Department of Justice and the state of Georgia for performing excessive and unnecessary procedures, had been dropped by a major insurer for excessive malpractice claims, and was not board certified? What due diligence did the Department of Homeland Security perform in signing off on each of these procedures? Because indeed, they did sign off on each of these procedures. Why was the inexplicably high number of surgeries performed by a single physician not a red flag that attracted greater scrutiny? What responsibility is borne by the private detention center operator for mistreatment of detainees housed in their facilities, when that mistreatment occurs at an off-site medical facility. All of these and more will be the subject of vigorous questioning today.
Wow.
Let's just get through it.
Protesters that participated in a noise demonstration outside of an immigration detention center in Texas were just given prison sentences of 30 to 70 fucking years. One prisoner was given a prison sentence of 100 years. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering what fucking loony bin judge would give anyone a prison sentence for peaceful protest. It's this fuckwit. Mark Pittman has a truly heinous court ruling history. Do y'all remember how the Biden administration was trying to pass an executive order to alleviate student loan debt? Yeah, Mark Pittman said, no. Mark Pittman also thinks it's unfair for colleges to consider historical racism in their admission process. Mark Pittman is also the reason why 18 to 20-year-olds in Texas can now carry concealed handguns. You can't fucking reform this system. This system allows people like this to be judges. Fuck ICE, fuck cops, fuck the United States carceral and judicial system. Fuck the United States government. Fuck this whole place. Fuck this whole fucking place. Protesters that
I don't know why we're trying to save it.
That's a better question.
Why are we trying to save it? Why are we trying to save a settler colony like the United States of America? It's very confusing to me. Why do you still have... Oof. I gotta be careful with my words.
I know, right?
I just got my access back.
I know, right? I was about to say, careful, friend.
But what does that say about your quote-unquote free country, right? That I have to do that?
And I feel like the censorship that you want to put onto North Korea and Russia, and you make it sound like you're any better, and we are not. We are not any better. And in some realms, we are much, much worse. And it's unfortunate because it truly feels like I'm fighting an uphill battle. Because I know how absolutely hard this is when you're trying to survive for you to fight. I just can't. We just don't have choices, bro. Look at what they're doing. And we can't ignore it until it gets to our front door. We always talking about the Trump supporters who are like, oh, we're so happy they fuck around and find out. You keep on being real happy about that shit until it's you. Because I promise you, this shit can get real close to you, and then all of a sudden you got to start reevaluating some shit.
Mm-hmm. Because again, ooh, are you gonna take it there, Taboo?
Mm-hmm.
I am. How can I say this? The war in Iran was going to happen maybe in 2028 if we had, let's say Kamala did win, right? I will never forget what she said. Iran is our greatest adversary and must be taken down. So, this man, yes, he did start the war, but he should have went through Congress first before we colonized. You know, there's a right way to be a settler colony. You know what I'm saying? Like
the fact there is a right way
do y'all hear
to
yourselves?
basically be a terrorist, and we refuse to use that word when it comes to what this is. But babe,
that's what I'm saying. There's no going backwards. This is supposed to be Turtle Island. Now the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The foundation of everything. Spotlight just got brighter.
honestly.
He just bring it more brighter, just more quicker.
And I honestly, and no, honestly, and I feel
That's why
like
I said it. So, oh, I did my duty, and I'll do my duty in 2028, and I voted. I ain't nothing like, girl, it has to go.
And I feel like
and you can't do that unless you have community.
And I feel like we constantly do this with liberal nonsense of like reform. Baby, this needs to be abolished. It needs to be gotten rid of because the racism is literally embedded in our laws. Like, there's a reason why historically police have been who they have been to us, because they started out as slave catchers. I can't help the fact that you don't want to read. That's not my problem.
Right.
I read, and there's some bitches who are actually friendly enough to give you the information. Mm-hmm. I'm not that bitch, but I feel like,
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
yeah, I'm sorry, I ain't teaching nobody, but I need people to understand that we are in a severely unsafe place, and for anybody to think that that anybody has any kind of safety net, you are out of your mind. It can happen to anyone at any time, and if you're black or brown, it's just going to happen more often to you. But everybody can get, they killed a male nurse and a white woman with a fucking car seat in the back, shot her twice in the face. Like, come on, bro. You gotta stop pretending that the only reason that you can act is when it gets to you. And I'm so sick of that narrative. And I feel like it is colonizer language. I truly do. I feel like that is something that we learned from empire, because as long as it doesn't get to you, there's no reason for us to do anything. There's a reason why when the Texas freeze happened, they were just like, oh, well, there was like some people asking us about the infrastructure, like maybe like 10, 15 years ago. But I never really got to it because it really wasn't important at the time. And you're just like, people died. And they don't, and what sucks is that when I say it's embedded in our laws, they didn't give a fuck about what was going on in Texas because they knew it was going to affect low income black and brown people. They said, who cares? Well, that's what they said. They said, who cares? What, like, forget about it. Well, you know what I mean? Like, no, real talk. They just said, who gives a fuck? And I really, truly hate for us the fact that we are so, and I do blame Christianity, that we are so.
See how it all goes back to it every time?
You're so connected to the long
God we
suffering. The long suffering is something that is so important for y'all to go through. And I feel like it's because you don't want to actually have to do the thing to not go through the thing.
Americans are conditioned to be servile, and they are conditioned to be like, oh, I'm not working hard enough. Oh, just start you a business. Mm-hmm. I need to start me a business. That way I can be the crabs in the bucket. I won't have to worry about it. I'm good.
Absolutely.
Oh, damn, it's a flood. Damn. Mm-hmm. Where's it at? It ain't my area, though, is it? Okay, then I don't care.
Oh, there's nothing for us to worry about.
Individualism is conditioned, and this is why that's going back to a war on disabled folks, autism, neurodivergent folks.
Absolutely.
We are definitely not made for this system. We don't do hierarchy. We don't do systems. We can't. It's just
not those kinds of systems. The systems that are inherently hurtful.
Like, authority, like, no, we don't really do that.
Right?
Power. Like, you got power with somebody, I don't like that.
Like, I'm not a fan, and I also feel like that will be taken as, well, you just don't want to follow the rules. No, you just don't want to explain the rules.
And you don't want to question it.
That's what it is.
Because, oh, well, that's just how it is, and I deserve to suffer. I can be a billionaire someday. I just need to work harder. Oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a sinner. I was born to sin. It's all connected.
Like, the long suffering that they make you go ahead and fall in love with. You can write poems about it. We write songs all day long. I'm a sinner. I'm a bitch. I'm a whatever the fuck y'all people be singing in church. Like, and I'm just like, girl, are you okay? Because this feels like really low self-esteem. instead. I don't know what the fuck else is going on. Like, I feel like you don't like yourself.
And the third tenet of white supremacy, patriarchy. But what did you do to piss him off? Maybe you should have made sure his plate was girl, you was there on the hell. Don't talk to him like that.
Listen, I don't know why you putting all that bass in your voice when you talk to him like that, girl. But that's
girl,
my
you're not
voice.
being a lady. That's not ladylike.
Okay.
All the shit's connected.
Don't look him in the eye when your king speaks to you, and you're just like, bitch, I'll kill everybody in here today. No, let me stop.
He didn't pull the trigger now, but it was like kind of stimulating. Like, he cared about me a lot. You had an abusive relationship with God, your father.
And then wonder how
capitalism.
And then you wonder how you get into abusive relationships. You've been in an abusive relationship all your goddamn life.
I just wish they could see how it's all connected.
And it sucks because there are going to be so many that are just like, babe, this has got nothing to do with me. And hey, we can't take everybody with us.
You can't take everybody.
And that's the truth. So we're gonna now get into the Middle East because, well, we were just talking about it, and here's some more bullshit. Because, you know, fun stuff.
Reporting live from the bullshit.
I swear to God.
And polls among Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza are showing that they're increasingly in favor of a one-state solution with equal rights for Israelis and Palestinians alike and equal citizenship. Is that something you believe could happen, or is that something you support?
I don't. I mean, I think if that happens, then that would be the end of the state of Israel. And I support Israel's right to exist.
Now, I'm saying this as a call in. But if Bernie Sanders is the reason why you are a socialist today, you need to look inward. You must read theory. You have to learn from history, or you'll end up a national socialist like he is. If you didn't peep game his second presidential run, if you didn't peep game as he demonized Hamas and constantly stated that Israel had a right to exist as they were bombing babies, if it took him saying this supremacist stance verbatim for you to finally get it, you are not the socialist you think you are. I pointed out a while ago that Bernie Sanders was individualizing the systemic issues created by capitalism by focusing on taxing the billionaires, when actual socialist theory properly frames our issues as our labor being exploited. Universal health care and higher education for all is great, but Bernie Sanders' scapegoating tax reform does not address this primary contradiction or the exploitation. Bernie Sanders' American version of socialism not only ignores the state-sanctioned violence that is needed to maintain hegemony at home and abroad, but also perpetuates the genocidal violence that has propped up this country since its conception.
And polls among Palestinians.
So he ate that the fuck up, as per usual. And
I
then,
was just talking about it.
and now the last one.
Because it goes back to what I was saying, how as much as I love Hassan, I like a lot of things Hassan Piker says.
Yes.
But when it comes to white leftists, a lot of white leftists, if you are not a decolonial socialist or a decolonial communist, I really don't care what you have to say. A lot of y'all are settler socialists.
Absolutely.
Y'all are not reading radical Angela Davis, James Baldwin,
Assata Shakur.
Black radical thought. Y'all are not doing that. It's still, okay, we can work within the system. We'll just go to the left, but we can still, you know, Israel can still exist. That's fine. But hey, we still got our health care. No.
You can't only want pieces of the system gone. You can't pick and choose what pieces of the system. It's like there's a lot of women that say they hate patriarchy, but then they absolutely love it in certain moments. I need people to understand that that is probably something I see so often when it comes to women. They want to bend into certain pieces of the patriarchy when it comes to the... Jesus Christ. It's like, I want to stay at home and I want to put my foot up and I don't want to go ahead and I don't want my man to be able to pay for all of these different things and so on and so forth. But then you're like, but baby, we're no longer thinking of anything in a collaborative sense. are you, because I feel like we're running out of a lot of like actual empathy and compassion, because I feel like we just think about these things in our head and we're not actually like thinking about it like in an active, realistic thing. I'll give you an example. Like, okay, instead of when it comes down to like your husbands, of course, listen, I'm gonna cook and clean and wash everything. You know, they do all the bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. And it sounds good on the surface. And then you're in a situation where a man now is telling you everything that you can and cannot do. You're like, I thought I wanted to be taken care of. I wanted to be a kept woman. Now look at you kept.
Yep. Right.
I need people to understand, a lot of times when they want to bend into certain parts of patriarchy and you just want to take pieces and leave the rest alone, you know, like they'll go ahead. Like I saw that video where that man body was just tea and she was upset, but it was the grocery store incident. Oh. And you know, this man is like just looking fine, and she was so fucking upset, and it was like she was literally manhandling him and being like, oh, put your hands on me, because she knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
It's so, I'm telling you, this patriarchy bullshit, it's got everybody's mind fucked up. You think it's just the men. It's got everybody's mind fucked up. Male, female, non-binary. Like, I promise you, it's got trans people, it's got us all fucked up. Because it is embedded into the system. And we swallow this shit so regularly.
Yeah. That's why I say, like, it's contradictory to be with a man that's homophobic, because again, he's misogynist as well, because they do intertwine. So yes, I'm going to be side-eyeing you if you are staying with him and you claim to, oh, we friends and yes, let's kiki, but your man doesn't believe that should exist, you know?
No.
So it's like,
not doing that.
Now I'm questioning you because you're an enabler.
Mm-hmm. And you also don't think that anything is a bad thing until it gets to you.
When shit comes to you, it's like, well, girl, he's misogynist. He hates feminine shit. So, of course, like, girl, and I tried to tell you, we on the same team. I'm not your enemy, babes.
A lot of them don't have... I don't know. I noticed that a lot of...
And I know it upsets you because some of them do be mad when niggas... You're attracted to me and it makes you upset. And... I get told that all the time. I'm mad. You too fine to be gay, and next thing you know, they get upset, or I question them some
pull
shit.
An attitude over some bullshit. I question
them on some shit that they said, and next thing you know, some sissies and punks come down. I don't know, but I guess I hate black women because I'm saying this stuff. Anyway.
I swear, I'm sorry, and I guess it just goes down to the fact that anybody can get it on here. I don't know what to tell you.
And y'all know I never care. I said what the fuck I said.
So in light of Israel's continued occupation of Lebanon, I want to go ahead and say this. Israel never planned on stopping with Palestine. And to understand this, you need to know what the movement for Greater Israel is. So just about a month after the 6-day war ended, a political organization known as the Movement for Greater Israel was founded. Greater Israel's map includes all of historic Palestine, along with parts of present-day Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a real political organization that openly subscribes to the ideology of a larger Israel existing outside of Palestinian borders. The organization was formed after the 6-day war because as a result of the 6-day war, Israel was able to capture Gaza, the Sinai Peninsula, the West Bank, and the Golan Heights. The group was calling on the Israeli government to permanently keep the captured territories and settle them with Jewish populations and continue expanding further. So the idea of Greater Israel itself is usually connected to Zionist biblical concepts of the Promised Land. There are religious passages that describe the land stretching from the Nile River to the Euphrates River. But this is where I have questions. Right. So according to the Bible, God made his covenant with Abraham. Abraham's actually not just important in Judaism, he's a central figure in Christianity and Islam as well. So if the promise was made to Abraham and his descendants, that would mean all of his descendants, his Muslim descendants, his Christian descendants, his Jewish descendants. So that kind of still poses the question of how that became an exclusive claim belonging to a single modern Jewish nation state. More importantly, the Israel described in scripture is portrayed as a place of peace and coexistence. There's scripture that contains passages that directly challenge the idea that this land belongs exclusively to one group. Actually, if you go ahead and look up Ezekiel 47:21-22, the prophet describes the division of the promised land, and they command that the resident foreigners who have families in Israel be treated as native-born Israelites. So they're essentially instructed to receive equal inheritance, equal land alongside the tribes of Israel. So basically, they're telling people that the foreigners living among them are to be treated as native-born and be treated equally, and receive equal inheritance, equal land alongside the tribes of Israel. Today's Israel is not that. It's a secular nation state defined by borders, military checkpoints, walls, occupation, and constant violence. That's not what biblical Israel was ever supposed to be. This modern state of Israel is not the Israel of the biblical prophecy. It's literally going against the scriptural descriptions of the promised land. In the Bible, the future Israel is supposed to be a unified, inclusive, spiritual sanctuary. So another thing I found interesting in my research was that there's modern archaeology and genetic studies that prove that the ancient Israelites actually emerged directly from the Canaanite population. And there's peer-reviewed DNA studies that show that not only Jewish populations, but modern Lebanese and Palestinians have this exact same ancient Canaanite ancestry. So therefore, according to both genetic history and biblical prophecy, the indigenous peoples of the Levant have a profound right to the inheritance of this land. So today's system of division of Palestinians, Lebanese, and Jewish people is a complete contradiction of the peaceful shared future that's discussed in the Bible. So there's still people who will debate on whether or not Greater Israel is just a theory, but we see it. We see the territorial expansion. We see the settlement construction. We see the annexation of multiple territories. We see military occupation. These are not hypothetical future possibilities. They're events that have already occurred. Actually, as June 2024, photos hit the news of Israeli soldiers wearing patches depicting the Greater Israel map. Has never been addressed by Israel, ever. Actually, fast forward to March 2026, during an interview with Tucker Carlson, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, was asked about the biblical borders and the concept of Greater Israel. And during the discussion, he made comments that you can look up, but I interpreted as suggesting that it would be acceptable if Israel took over the entire Middle East. Following the backlash from that statement, though, the U.S. Embassy was like, oh, you guys are taking out of context what he said, and they emphasized that official U.S. policy hasn't changed, and Huckabee clarified that Israel's not actively seeking to take over neighboring territories like Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. Since 1967, East Jerusalem was annexed. The Golan Heights was annexed. Settlements have expanded throughout occupied Palestinian territories, and today, Israel occupies territory beyond its internationally recognized borders, not only in Palestine, but also in Lebanon. Greater Israel is not a possibility, it's happening. Okay, it's not.
Diablo says people don't actively read the Bible they're praising. They really don't.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can really be a Christian if you don't read the Bible. If you read the Bible, not actually read it. I read it twice because I had to make sure.
And comprehend, well, try.
The most dustiest book you will find in a Christian's household is the Bible. So much, a thick layer of dust on these fucking Bibles.
Because they're not reading it. They're just
They're
there.
not reading it. They're not. And they really think that, oh, well, America, oh, we just got to separate ourselves. I don't think America won't do that. America cannot separate itself from Israel. Because why? America, how can I say this on live or not?
A lot of these things are deeply connected. And because of the powers that be, I don't feel like we understand that our demise is interlinked with Israel. That is what I will say. Our demise is absolutely interlinked with Israel's existence. And I truly believe that if all Semitic people were accepted on their own land, we would quickly realize that it has nothing to do with whose ancestral land it is. It's about who's in power and who's not, who's Caucasian and who's not. It's not about who's Semitic. It's not about who's got actual claim to the land. There's a reason why they have outlawed DNA tests in Israel. I will leave it there.
And I also want to say, I had to type it in because my brain be going fast. When you have a government that is ran by evangelicals, and is founded on that shit too, and millions and millions and millions of Americans are evangelical, they genuinely believe, a lot of them really don't care about, that's what they said, just vote blue, who cares what's going on? Who cares if it's genocide, right? Just vote blue, because a lot of them really think that this is prophecy, this doomsday cult, Christianity, this doomsday, they really think this shit is real, and that Jesus is coming back. Is horrifying. In God we trust, right? It's everywhere. So a lot of them think, oh, that sucks, but vote blue so we can go back to Starbucks, go back to brunch, because deep in the back of my mind, I really think that this is prophecy in times. Damn, that's crazy. Like, they really think this shit, y'all. It's scary.
And
it's scary as fuck.
And when I say, it's like, it would be one thing if these were just crazy people on the side, you know? But we're talking about governors and mayors and judges who will give somebody 100 years for passing out anti-fascism literature. Like, I need people to understand, like, this isn't, I truly wish that the amount of violence that you can see, I really wish that you would, I don't know, I just need everybody to wake up.
And it's like going back to Bernie and the Bernie bros and his base, the Bernie bros, yeah, white leftists. That's why he cannot say that country cannot exist.
Yep.
No one that works in this government can go up there and say that
at all.
Or else.
And that goes down to Mamdani.
Or he even can't say it.
Absolutely. And he's actually doing real good work right now. Shit. He's actually doing good work, and that man can't even say it.
Yeah, he can't say it because him saying that is a threat. That brings that shit. That's talking about dismantling that shit.
And we're talking about a Muslim man who was born in Uganda. Girl, they're already shook. He's like, I can't say that shit.
Words like that means dismantlement of empire.
Absolutely.
That's why no one can work for the government and say something like that. Abolishing the police, dismantlement of the state. You can't go. You just can't.
It just.
That's why I say Obama was the exception, but not the rule.
I really think Obama as a character, because that's kind of what he was for us.
When he scolded them black men, y'all need to run. Y'all need to get there. Y'all need to get out there.
I said, girl, what? No, and to see that he can't even say anything about Palestine or call it a genocide, or so when you actually look into his history and realize that he literally deported more people than Trump, you're like, how did this go under everybody's radar? Easily, because you got taken in by identity politics. I got taken in by identity politics. I was so enamored with the fact that there was somebody who could have even looked close to what a nigga looked like, so that I could listen. I wanted to stand up on fucking chairs and scream, "My president is black," and that's just the truth. I think a lot of us it wasn't like, oh, all of his policies were just so horrific. No, baby, he was still there to forward an agenda of the system, and that's it. So no matter what he was doing, bro, Guantanamo Bay? Okay, I'm sorry. There's just, I read too much. And I can't let you play in my face. I'm gonna just leave it there.
And same for Black Jesus too, right? Jesus!
Oh.
It's still not going to save us.
It's really not.
So, yes, hey, beautiful, right? We had a Black Jesus too. Like, hello. But also, colonialism.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? All right, so now we are going to go on to our last topic, the lie of free will. I be in my feelings when I be writing these things. I'm like, girl, what are you going through?
I be reading them like, friend.
Should I check on her? Like, I'm just like, well, what are we talking about, man? It's fine.
What really sealed the deal for me when it came to deconstructing Christianity was asking myself, why is free will a good enough excuse as to why God, if he is real, isn't stepping in? Y'all have to understand, y'all claim that God is all-knowing, he's all-powerful, he sees everything, he dictates everything, he has the power to stop everything, all that good shit going on. But that also means that he is turning a blind eye to a lot of the shit that is going on in the world. That means that. And when you think about it, God has watched so many children get beat, raped. He watched the slaves go through what they went through. The Jews went through what they went through. Some of that shit that they were doing and they are doing is heinous, for lack of a better word. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And you mean to tell me God is watching all of this go on, and he says, I'm not going to step in because I gave them free will. They have the free will to do that to other people. So, hey, fuck it. I had to ask myself, Asia, would you turn a blind eye to some fuck shit being done right in front of you, and you had the power to stop it, all because that's free will and that person chose to do that, so it's cool? No. What really sealed the deal?
So that's why I was in my feelings. I'm gonna let you go first.
How can we have free will if your God is all-knowing? I would say this all the time. How can we truly have it? Just like with the, oh, well, he tried to give you free will, and that's why you got to go to hell, because he gave you free will. Okay, if a person pulls up in their car and say, get in, or else I'm going to set you on fire. Sure, you have, like, that option to, but bitch, come on now.
These are the choices?
That's gaslighting. I hate that shit. I hate it so fucking much. Get in, I'm going to set you on fire for the rest of your life.
And I need,
Sure, you had that ultimate, like, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for?
Ultimatum?
I think that's the right one. But it's like, it's just trickery. I don't like that shit. And that's what Christians like to be saying the same script over and over again, because scripture, right? I don't fall for it no more.
And the reason that I don't fall for it is because I spent a lifetime being indoctrinated by it. And I can honestly tell you, what I'm going to say is going to be very upsetting, but my morality is better than your Christian God of the Bible, because I would step in. I would do something. I'm not about to go ahead and let 400 years of slavery, incest, forced incest. Go look at where motherfucker comes from, right? Like the breeding buck farms. They would make things out of our skin. They would make drums. They would they would go ahead and bury infants up into their heads and then basically have their own version of bowling.
Picnics.
It's fine. I need you to understand. There's no way that I could know everything that was going to happen and everything that would happen. I would never be okay with heinous shit happening because I think somebody needs to learn a lesson.
And why does God, he's a narcissist, that's why. But why does God need validation? Why does God need to create something to worship him at all times? That sounds narcissistic if you ask me. And then had a nerve to say, oh, well, you had the choice. You had the choice.
What choice do I have when you say either follow me or burn for eternity? What's the choices there?
And what about all the other what if I was born in the Middle East and I didn't believe in that shit? And I was born this way, even though that shit, I got a lot of things to say about Islam. But, yeah, it's like, depending on where you're at, like, child, whatever. I'm glad I got out of it.
All I can say is that I am...
And I still give my people grace, even though, again, it is a fact that we will not be free until we let it go. I still give us grace because of all the shit that we go through on this earth.
Yeah.
From white supremacy and whiteness.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that, I mean, the black church was so integral in the success of the civil rights movement. And I will never take that. Like, again, because a bitch reads, I know that. And I will never not give my respect for that. But at the same time, because I like to walk and chew gum, I cannot look at certain things that they say in the Bible and be like, yeah, that's a good idea. What? You tell me why God had to go ahead and make a bet with the devil.
Was he created, by the way?
And then he also knew what the devil was going to do because he knows everything. It's fine. We'll go back there. It's not circular at all. And then he makes a bet with the devil. And then he said that he literally tells the devil, do your worst. This nigga don't know that he just told him to do his worst. Absolutely not. He lost his whole family. His house, his family, his kids. And you know how they end the story? God gave it all back to him tenfold. So he had more wives and more children and more land. And I said, okay, you're gaslighting me. Because they died. Like, you gave him a new family. So that was enough.
Be grateful.
Y'all and your backwards ass stories and all of your mental gymnastics to go ahead and rationalize all kinds of bullshit will not work on me.
It's kind of like when y'all be like, oh, God don't play about me. Favor. He favors me. But what about all the other 19 kills in that bus crash? Okay, yes, God cares about my child.
But he didn't give a fuck about the other 19. Okay, girl. Oh my goodness. And I'm not going to lie.
They're not allowed to hear themselves think like that. They can't think that deep like that. Because then that would mean like, damn, God sounds kind of like an asshole. So it's like, but they can't think that far. So.
But honestly, Christian apathy, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before we close it out, is probably some of the most gross. I will see people who will see someone dying of cancer and he'll say, thank you, God, my son is okay. Right underneath, and you're like, Christian apathy needs to be studied. Mm-hmm. That shit needs to be studied, because for people that are always constantly saying how they so all loving and just, we love the people and the babies and the children, like you say all this bullshit, but then when it actually comes time for anybody to be compassionate, it almost feels like y'all be devoid of it. And then when you do want to give it out, it's only because you're doing what I want. Or you're coming to my church. And just so you know, the next show we will be talking about that woman who was asking all of those churches if they would take somebody who was a child sex offender. And all of the churches said yes. But all those same churches said no for milk for a starving baby. You do the math.
And they were gaslighting the fuck out of us, y'all. They were gaslighting the fuck out of us when we called them out on it. And again, but the God is a narcissist, so of course his followers are narcissists. That's how it works. Christian narcissism in your face, right there.
For real though.
Yeah, but going back to what I said, we won't be free, y'all. And damn, I'm high right now. And I don't give a fuck. Earth's ghetto, bitch. You know what time it is, ho.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really want more from my people, but I'm gonna give y'all grace because hey, when you're ready, right? Because
right?
you have to want it. You have to. That's how it was for me. I said I can't do this no more. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
My people are still fucking suffering. But God got us. Just we gotta pray harder, y'all. It just didn't make sense.
I just hope you win the lottery of God's love, of His grace and mercy.
This all powerful beat. We gotta put a lottery though for that.
I hope you cha-ching and you get the 3 cherries in a row and you get the good life that God's supposed to give you. I'm so sick of your bullshit, and you're not gonna gaslight us or probably anybody in our friend circle that the brutality can be rationalized. You'll never get me to say that's okay, because I actually read the Bible. The shit that God does is heinous. 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 Genocidal maniac. Sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry, because I know that sucks to hear.
I'm not sorry. And I don't care how you take it.
I know.
Yeah, me and Levi took different people.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I feel bad. I feel bad,
Yeah,
y'all.
fuck y'all.
Okay.
Hey, it's time. Ooh, I know it is.
I'm gonna have to. I will definitely do this afterward. But I just want to thank everybody for being alive. We had such a good show. I am so glad that we were able to go ahead and get this recorded, and I should be having this up within the next 72 hours.
Period.
Just to say. But anyway, thank you for coming, guys.
This was fun.
Never mind. My bad. Anyway, bye, guys. I know. I just realized I can't. My bad. That was a me issue.
I get it. I want to join in.
I just felt the weight of them shift, and I was just like, oh shit, I'm gonna hit myself in the eye. All right. Anyway, damn.
It really is though.
You're so stupid.
And I'm very gay.
Anyway. Bye, y'all. I'm not messing with y'all bitches no more. Y'all stupid. Oh, yay.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.